Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button. I post Raptors content along with NBA content every single day. Let's aim for 150 likes on today's video. That would be awesome. Today, we're going to talk about something a little interesting. And once again, the season starts in less than a month. Preseason starts in less than a month. And it's just kind of dead right now. So I saw this article on Bleacher Report. It was essentially, they gave a handful of teams that might blow it up if they don't live up to expectations or they have a down season. I know my Chicago Bulls were on that list, but the Toronto Raptors were also on there. And from an outsider's perspective, it does make a little bit of sense, but I do think it revolves. A lot of different things need to happen. Masai came out and said on Friday that they are a team of the future. They're not a team of now. That's why they drafted Scotty Barnes over Jalen Suggs. They're trying to create their own direction. Direct words from Raptors president. Wants to continue to develop the players. They want to find a way to win a championship based on the development of their players. And before I go any further in this video, I just want the record to show, if you guys watch me, you know this, I've got the Raptors making it to the second round of the playoffs. I don't think they have a down season. I made a video about this yesterday as to why I don't think they'll have a season like that for a very long time. I know Masai came out and said yesterday that they're going to experience growing pains and sometimes it might be tough to watch. I just disagree. I think they have a very, very good set of players who are ready to take that next step. And we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But I've also been making a lot of videos about trading, reacting to trade rumors, reacting to trade ideas. And there's actually a decent amount of Raptor fans who are kind of down to trade Pascal already, which I was a little surprised about. But this next season, the Raptors are they're essentially they've got their core, your main guys, Fred VanVleet, Pascal. They're both 27 years old. Obviously, you just drafted Scotty Barnes. You're hoping OG can take that next step. If the Raptors had a down season, it's not the end of the world, and this is something I preached all offseason. The Raptors have set themselves up to be very flexible. Their contracts are extremely flexible, and this is something I've noticed with the Houston Rockets as well, is when you have GMs, when you have your team just kind of knowing what to do, not only are you trying to maximize your ROI, but you're trying to put yourself in a position where if something were to happen, if Fred has a down season, Pascal has a down season, if your team has a down season, it's not the end of the world. And that's what they did by just their contracts. Pascal, Fred VanVleet, Khem Birch, all of these guys on the Raptors roster have extremely tradable contracts. You could argue Goran Dragic and his $19 million a year is a little bit iffy. They'll still 100%, I guarantee you they trade him at one point in the season. I don't think it'll happen until the trade deadline because I do think they will be a very solid team. But essentially what I'm getting at is you have all these young, up-and-coming players on good contracts. So if the Raptors were to actually want to blow it up, or not want to blow it up, but if they were to have to blow it up, even if they were to just trade away a handful of pieces, Fred and Khem Birch, something like that, they would get a lot of assets back. Chris Boucher on the bench. There's just so many different. He's on an expiring contract. If you get to the trade deadline, you got guys like Goran, you got Chris Boucher. They could blow part of it up and still just get this mountain of assets while holding on to their already mountain of assets. I think a large portion of this season comes down to just the play. I don't think Fred has a down year. I don't think Pascal has a down year. I'm not worried about either of those. If somebody does end up getting traded, a big name, not a small name like Goran or even Chris Boucher, if one of the starters were to get traded, I'd put my money on Fred. I think Pascal, I still think he is, he's 1 year removed from second team All-NBA. He's very capable. Injuries, COVID, all that crap happened last season. So I think Pascal, when he comes back, he's going to be healthy. And I think he's going to go off. He's not going to shoot 30% from three. He's probably going to go back to 35%. Worst case, 33, 34. That's going to give him a tick in points as well. And it's just, he's going to have a good season. But If he doesn't, if Fred doesn't, that's why you have guys like Malachi Flynn, and that's why you have guys like Scotty Barnes. So unless, to me, like I said, I don't think Fred or Pascal get traded either way, even if they had a just horrible season. I don't think either of those guys end up getting traded. But if Malachi Flynn turns out to be just has a breakthrough year, like he showed signs of at the end of last year, that's why I think Fred might be the first to go, because Malachi Flynn could be a good replacement and you could get a good amount of assets back for Fred. But like I said, I really like this roster. I really like Fred. I really like Pascal. I really like OG. I think that core group of 3 guys, I think they can lead this young team further than a lot of people realize. But to look at the downside, here's the reality of it. Fred and Pascal are 27 years old. You just drafted 19-year-old Scotty Barnes. You got Delano Banton. You got all these young players. Trade for Precious Achiuwa. Fred and Pascal they're almost like win now type of players. And that's the worry, is if it's clear this next year that the Raptors aren't contending, or if it's even clear that they're not close to contending, like for a championship. I'm not talking playoffs. If it's clear the blueprint just isn't there, that's my only concern, is they're win now type of players, and teams are going to want that, and teams are going to be willing to give up a lot for it. Here's the reason I don't think the Raptors should panic, any Raptors fans should panic. With those 3 players that I've been mentioning, with them on the roster, they're going to be just fine. Those are fully capable, championship-proven, borderline star players. They're going to be just fine. So then the question starts to become, and this is what I've talked about all offseason, is can that group lead this young team to contention? Because a lot of people, including Vegas, most of American media, a lot of people don't believe that the Raptors are ready to sneak into contention with their current roster. They see the loss of Kyle Lowry kind of just as an absolute killer. So from an outsider's perspective, the Raptors are in a win-win position. Either their group of core players leads this young team into contention and all is fine and dandy, or they don't. They throw in their backup plans, Malachi Flynn, Scotty Barnes, Precious Achiuwa. They get a mountain of assets in return, and then their future, which was already set, is even more set. So to me, it's a win-win. I don't think that they'll struggle that much this season. They might make some trades. Like I said, Goran Dragic to me might get traded he will get traded for sure. Chris Boucher, another expiring contract, he might actually get traded as well. So they might make some moves. They're going to make some moves, actually. But I think they'll be just fine. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion down below. I know it's, if you're a Raptors fan, this isn't what you want to think about, but I'd love to hear your guys' opinion down below on what would you want to do if they were to have a disappointing season. Do you want to see a little bit of a blow up, a little bit of a tweak and a retool, or do you want to just run it back again with your developing players continuing to develop? I've mentioned this before. I really think the Raptors are one superstar away from just becoming an absolute force to be reckoned with. However, that might be the plan 2-3 years from now after the development of these young guys. So hit the like button, hit the sub button. Peace.